that note, of course, over the weekend, just at the close of business, last week, there was the report of the abductions of some Benue serious concerns and uproar, as it were. Kidnappings are still, pockets of them are still going on here and there. But we see the National Association of Nigerian Students, I beg your pardon, asking that the federal government put hands on deck to rescue the abducted Benue University students, and that's now a major concern in the country. Remember that over the week, a few students who were headed to classes were abducted in the in Benue State, as it were. And now, what is the federal government saying? Remember that when we're trying to address issues of abductions and kidnappings, usually it's more like hush hush. The federal government would not like to tick off any of the parts. But some students who had witnessed the abductions talked about the fact that the abductors emerged from a nearby bush and abducted these students. So that raises one big question: security around our tertiary institutions and even our secondary schools. I remember that in terms of cases of abductions of students, that's what led, I think, is the present administration of Umoeno that led to the fencing round of all primary school. It was a project that was started at some point, and we saw so many primary schools being fenced around. But the question of security around our tertiary institution becomes another key question. But then I remember the words of the likes of the DSS boss, who talked about the fact that, the security architecture in Nigeria, all of, the Joint Task Force put together, does not have adequate personnel to be able to cater to the security needs that Nigeria has at the moment. So what do we do in these kinds of cases where we're seeing, abductions of students happening on campus?
Well, I still go back to question the standpoint of the Nigerian government. Yeah, I recall that following the new spate of abduction, the Nigerian police force, the Nigerian military came up with Operation Safe School, where we talked about sending security personnel to school
Sure.
environment. I remember just about 3 weeks of, about a month ago or 2 weeks ago, the Inspector General of Police restated the commitment of Nigerian police force to ensure that program is a huge success. And this is where the question will always come. When you say a program is ongoing and we continue to see things like this happen, it raises the question, what exactly is happening? Are there men and women of the Nigerian security forces compromised who are stationed in this position? Is it that we don't have enough investment in intelligence gathering, or we're just not inspired and motivated enough by issues of welfare that these security persons just stand on a blind eye and then allow criminal activities or criminal elements have a field day and just do what they want to do and go away with it? Because I mean, when you look at scenarios where you already know, I mean, even a child in Nigeria would know at this point in time who are the primary targets. You're looking at students, you're looking at experts, you're looking at people who are working in high end or within the high end professions. So these areas, the same way we invest so much into protecting foreigners, who, by the way, even in their own country, some of them are prisoners who come into Nigeria to do prison services, and we treat them like kings and gods or demigods, and we send patrols of military and security escorts to walk around with them. How is it that we do not have enough? I mean, some time ago, when the Inspector General of Police said, "Oh, we were going to withdraw all the security details
From
from
expatriates.
everybody except you're a politician and it is mandated by law. We're going to give that exact number that is stipulated by law and no more." And we were all celebrating in this country, except people like us, because we knew that was just a charade to make it look like, oh, the security forces are working. Because if we were to, I mean, we still see politicians walk around with a truckload of police personnel,
True.
a combination of military and police
That
personnel,
that should be responsible to security needs.
security of lives and properties. So why is there so much need to send 20, 30, 40, 50 military personnel or security forces or police or a combination of both to one individual? In Akwa Ibom, yeah, I still see foreign nationals. You have the first escort. You have the first escort of six. You have the second escort of six, and then you have the foreign national, the foreign individual in another vehicle in the middle. We're still military police escort inside, and then you have the last batch. So one individual, two people, you have 10, 20, 30. And yet we are sitting down in Nigeria and complaining, oh, we do not have enough hands.
And we don't see these things in other climes. Like, we don't see representatives of the people clad with a lot of military presence, in other parts of the world. I mean, you travel outside the country, you listen to other people, you literally see a representative of the people ride the bus with you. But in our country, I think it was early on during the Tinubu-led administration that residents of Abuja, were asking that the president should just move into Aso Rock because the traffic it was causing in the mornings, for people trying to get to their workplaces was difficult. With him driving from a different residence inside the heart of Abuja to the Asa Rock Villa. So there's just a lot of pomp and pageantry with the military, the Nigerian police force that goes on, and it is further debilitating the quality of hands that we would have had on deck. Now, Francis has already spoken to, safe students, proposition that was moved by the NPF, but we haven't seen its implementation. Now, three female students, abducted at the Joseph Sakwantaka University. It's a problem, at this time. Abducted from off of their campus. What happens? And now remember that Nancy is talking about the fact that there is a high, this it's now becoming nearly a
A
frequent thing.
frequent
You
thing.
just want to hear what school has it happened next, and that's going to be, it's already psychologically affecting our thoughts as to how safe our tertiary institutions. Remember that we are already in a bit of confusion as to what would happen to funding if tech fund is absolved under the tax reform bill. That creates more, loopholes where security is concerned. So we do hope that the federal government is going to move swiftly to make sure that the three abducted female students are returned to the families and their colleagues as soon as possible. Now, remember that the National Vice President of NANS for Intercampus Affairs, of course, Felicia Akimbodunse in Abeokuta, Ogun State, had actually, sent out a statement looking at kidnapping of students off and on the campus becoming an ugly trend that must be tackled by security agencies and the decisiveness of the federal government. You're going to look at the post-traumatic effect that this is going to leave on students generally in our school environment. So this must be handled, and we do hope that soon we can collectively celebrate the return of the three abducted female students.